2 square kilometers. That is smaller than New York Central Park. You could walk across the entire country in 20 minutes. And yet, this tiny strip of land on the Mediterranean coast is home to more millionaires per person than anywhere else on the planet. No income tax, no slums, no empty streets. Just yachts, supercars, and a casino that quietly built an entire nation. This is Monaco. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how a country smaller than a golf course became one of the richest places on earth. We are going to break this down into 7 levels. Each level builds on the last. And by level 7, you will see the full machine, the one hidden behind the yachts and the Grand Prix. Let's start at the very beginning. Level 1, the tiny kingdom. Monaco is barely 2 square kilometers. Fewer than 40,000 people live here, and most of them are not even Monegasque. They come from over 100 different countries. The ruling family, the Grimaldis, have held this land since 1297, when an ancestor disguised himself as a monk and seized the fortress on the rock above the harbor. For centuries, this was just a small, poor fishing territory. In 1848, Monaco lost 80% of its land to France overnight. The treasury was empty. Fishermen and farmers were the only real industry left. This was, quite literally, one of the poorest corners of Europe. Today, that same tiny strip of coastline is one of the richest places on the planet. But being tiny does not make you rich. Something else had to happen first. Level 2, the zero-tax kingdom. In 1869, the Prince of Monaco made a decision that changed everything. He abolished income tax completely. No tax on salaries, no tax on wealth, no tax on what you leave behind for your children. Even today, residents pay no personal income tax, no capital gains tax, and no annual property tax. There is one major exception. French citizens who move to Monaco are still taxed by France, under a treaty signed in 1963. For almost everyone else, moving to Monaco can mean legally keeping everything you earn. That single decision, made over 150 years ago, is the reason billionaires still relocate here today. But removing an entire country's income tax creates a massive problem. If the government is not collecting from its own people, where does the money to run the country actually come from? Solving that problem is what made Monaco even richer. Level 3, the billionaire lifestyle. Step onto the harbor, and you will understand the answer before anyone explains it. Port Hercule holds nearly 700 berths, and some of the largest superyachts in the world dock here. Vessels that can stretch beyond 100 meters long. Every year, the Monaco Yacht Show turns this harbor into the most expensive parking lot on the planet. Ferraris and Lamborghinis are not rare here. They are simply traffic. Michelin-starred restaurants sit minutes from 5-star hotels built over a century ago for European royalty. For 1 week every spring, Formula One cars scream through these same streets at nearly 300 kilometers per hour, on the shortest, tightest circuit in the entire sport. This is not a backdrop. This is Monaco selling a feeling, the feeling of arrival, to people who can afford to buy it. And that feeling is worth more than most people realize. Level 4, the world's most expensive land. All of this luxury needs somewhere to stand, and Monaco has almost no room left. The country is boxed in by mountains on one side and the sea on the other. So for decades, Monaco has done something unusual. It has been building its own land, reclaiming it directly from the Mediterranean. Entire neighborhoods, including Fontvieille, sit on ground that used to be open water. The newest project, called Masterclass, added several new hectares of coastline, designed by two of the world's most famous architects. The result of all this scarcity is simple and brutal. Monaco is now the most expensive place on earth to buy property, with prices regularly passing 50,000 euros per square meter. In the priciest districts, that number climbs even higher. For the price of an entire family home in many countries, Monaco gives you a room barely larger than a bedroom. But the buildings are not actually the most expensive thing in Monaco. The real value is hidden somewhere else entirely. Level 5. The money machine. Behind the yachts and the skyline, Monaco runs on a quiet financial engine. It all started with one casino. In 1863, Prince Charles III handed a French businessman the rights to build a casino on a barren hillside. Within a few years, that casino was generating so much money that Monaco could abolish taxes altogether. Today, tourism, gaming, luxury retail, and international events still fund a large part of the country's economy. But the real engine sits quietly behind private doors. Private banks manage well over 100 billion euros in assets for clients from around the world, protecting and growing fortunes far larger than Monaco's own economy. A small percentage of ultra-wealthy clients control the vast majority of that money. Some of these clients do not even live in Monaco. They simply trust the country enough to keep their fortunes here. Tourism brings the world in. The casino built the foundation. But private banking is what keeps the wealth here, quietly, year after year. And that system depends on one thing above everything else: trust. Level 6. The hidden wealth system. Monaco has spent over a century building a reputation for stability and discretion. No public debt, strict regulation, and real political stability make it one of the safest places on earth to store serious money. Fortunes are not just spent here, they are protected here and passed down through generations here. This privacy has drawn scrutiny too, and Monaco has had to keep adapting to global standards. But the appeal has never really changed. In Monaco, wealth is not just displayed, it is preserved. And that is exactly why the world's richest keep coming back. Level 7. Monaco's future. So what happens next for a country that is already completely out of space? Monaco keeps expanding the only way it can, into the sea itself. Projects like Masterclass suggest this strategy will continue for decades to come. Rising sea levels and coastal erosion are real, long-term challenges for a nation built this close to the water, and Monaco is already investing in coastal protection to prepare for it. Global banking rules are tightening everywhere, and Monaco will have to keep adjusting to remain trusted on the world stage. But history suggests this small kingdom is remarkably good at adapting. It turned a bankrupt fishing village into a tax-free paradise. It turned scarcity into some of the most valuable land on the planet. As long as tax advantages, privacy, and stability remain in place, the world's wealthiest will likely keep choosing Monaco, generation after generation, ending 2 square kilometers. That is where we started. Not by accident, but through geography. A bold tax decision, scarcity turned into value, and over a century of quiet financial trust, this tiny strip of land became one of the richest places on earth. Every yacht in that harbor, every supercar on that street, is really just the visible tip of a much deeper system, proving that sometimes the world's greatest wealth does not need more land. It just needs a smarter system.